Welcome in again, everybody, to Coach's Corner with Ellis Johnson on the Auburn Undercover podcast. We've got a lot to talk about today, Ellis.
It's getting to be the same old story. Frustrating, man. Frustrating and puzzling. Finding various ways and different ways to lose ball games. Most of them are pretty good football teams, but they've Auburn certainly had a few victories in the hands and can't close the whole thing out.
You know, I mean, if you're, and we might as well just jump into it. I'm never, and you're not either, to call for somebody to get fired. But you know, you're sitting here in year 3 of the freeze era, and you look at the number of games, close games that they continue to lose. And I'll still continue to say that I think most people fail to realize how bad it was when he got there. And so in a lot of ways, he's done a really good job. Like he fits the culture. People like him. The boosters like him. You know, and as you and I look, Spurrier. I followed Spurrier at Florida. You know, Hugh Freeze isn't Steve Spurrier, and nobody else is either. Steve Spurrier go play golf in the spring and conduct a staff meeting from the damn golf course, and you know he's winning 10 or 11 games every year, and nobody says anything about it. But when you're at your 3rd year at a place, and the story in the offseason is how much golf you play, whether it has anything to do with wins or losses or not, fan base doesn't want to hear it. You know, and there's just been so many close losses. There's a so-called noise in the system. I mean,
yeah.
If you're him, how do you deal with it?
Well, I personally, if you just ask me what I think about the overall situation, I think it'd be a mistake to make that move this season. And the reason I think is because you're going to have a complete staff turnover. You're going to have a hell of a lot of kids are going to leave. And then you're going to have a recruiting class, maybe even a portal class. You're going to be behind the 8 ball trying to come in as a new coach and sew that up, you know, and get it fixed. So personally, I'm not for it. And I think that's easy to say when I'm not involved in it again now. But for fans and administrators and so forth, there just isn't any patience anymore. And I'm not saying he's done a great job. I'm not saying he's done a terrible job. I think, to me, the recruiting's been good. The portal recruiting's been good. You may know I haven't heard of a bunch of them off the field with problems and stuff like that, embarrassing the program or anything like that. I think off-season activities by coaches to criticize what they're doing or anything unless they're just not showing up at work. I mean, that's stupid. And, you know, especially if it's doing something like playing golf or tennis or exercising. I mean, that's common sense. So, you know, I just don't see it. Now, when you look at this football team, some of the stuff's happening over and over. And, you know, we talked a little bit earlier. I think the defense is playing so well, and it's given them a chance to have a good season. They got a decent kicking game. And everything comes back, almost every game, it comes back to not be able to make about 6 critical plays with the ball.
Yep.
And the majority of it, I'm sure it's not the only problem, but the majority of it's coming back to the quarterback play. And you just can't make those kind of mistakes all the time. You can make a lot of quarterbacks screw up in that conference because you got great players on defense, you know, that they can create some problems and make them make a bad play. But it just can't be 3 and 4 missed opportunities and then 3 and 4 dumb decisions and bad decisions with the football over and over and over. And that would be my biggest concern because I don't study too much detail, but I watch all these games and try to keep up with stuff. I look at statistics. I look at different things. And most everything comes back to the quarterback play. And I just don't know. Something's got to be done.
It seems like to me, and Freeze said in the press conference earlier in the week that Monday, I guess, that, you know, they're going to rotate quarterbacks during the week. I think he said that Jackson Arnold, he still expects Jackson to start, but Ashton Daniels is going to get more snaps than he normally gets. My guess is that he'll end up making a change. I just don't, you know, here's the thing. I mean, I know it was really bad when he got there. Again, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I also see the same things you see. It's the same thing over and over every week. And from a coaching change standpoint, I've said it again, and I'll say it again. This isn't really the year you want to have. You want to be looking for a coach. I mean, you got 11 jobs open right now, 7 in Power 4. You're probably going to have some more after this weekend.
That's a great point.
And you're going to have 30 plus jobs. This is not the year you want to be looking for a coach.
Yeah,
and
it's going to be a free for all. I didn't even think about that, Ronnie. But you're not really up at the front of the line right now. I mean, it doesn't appear that anything's going to be done before open date, if then. And maybe they would, if they want to make a change, they'd want to make it before the Auburn game or something. I don't know. That open date before Mercer, give somebody come in, win a game, and then go play Alabama. If they pull off the upset, wonderful, whatever. I just don't know. You'd probably know a lot more than I would about what's going on, but I just think in general, it'd be a real risky decision for Auburn to do this right now. You also brought up something else, and I don't know that to the detail that you do, but the roster was not in good shape when he took over. A lot of things, had to be cleaned up and fixed before he could even worry about putting his stamp on it with his culture, his scheme, his whatever. But to me, that program is in a whole lot better shape right now than it was when he got it.
I agree.
And I'm not so sure if you make a change right now, you're going to lose some of those talented kids he brought in. That's just the way kids are. And then you're going to be behind the 8 ball, not only trying to get into portal and recruiting classes, you're going to have some kids, decommit. And you'll get some of them back, but you won't get them all back. So I just think it puts you further behind, in my opinion.
Well, I tend to agree with you. I think the other question is, I do think it depends on how the rest of the year looks, because if they bottom out, then what does it look like?
If you lose the locker room, then that's a whole different deal. But when I watch them play, I don't see a lack of effort. I just see bad decisions and execution.
And most of it comes back to the quarterback, like you say. I mean, Cam Coleman dropped some passes Saturday, but you've got to get him the ball, and you've got to try to run the ball and take some pressure off the quarterback. But I think the biggest thing is quarterback's got to get rid of the ball. I mean, hell, you can't just keep holding on the ball on the 4th down. I mean, get rid of the ball, give somebody a chance. I mean, you can't just keep over.
Biggest one, with the overtime rules, you do not take a sack in overtime.
You can't.
The 2 most devastating things you can do to yourself in overtime is get a pre-snap penalty on offense or take a sack. Because, the distance for the field goal may be the difference in the ball game. We're not talking about being out on the 50-yard line. They're giving you the ball the 25-yard line, and you're going backwards because you can't make the right decision. Or you jump off sides, have some kind of issue with a delay of game or something. So that one kind of highlights it. You can say, well, he tried to get rid of it in the second quarter, but they ain't protecting him. He wanted to get rid of it, but the receiver's route wasn't correct. I don't care who did what. In overtime, if a quarterback takes a sack, he needs to take the bench. That's just something you don't do.
Especially over and over again. Every week, I just think that, I know they wanted to save Ashton Daniels' red shirt. I get all that. But you're in year 3. And the other thing, if they don't start winning some games, one of the recruits said, 5-star kid over the weekend said, nothing's changed, and he's committed. And before, you're selling playing time. And now you got these kids on the roster, and you're going to have to start upping money to keep them. And some of these kids like Cam Coleman, they're going to hit the portal. If you can't get them the ball and you're not going to throw them the ball, and offensively, and you can't develop them to get them to the NFL, they're going to hit the portal. And that's just the world we live in.
Yep. That's a position thing. They got to go somewhere where they know the quarterback can throw them the ball. That's their future. And that's a little selfish, but at the same time, it's common sense too. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. But I just thought that was the most glaring thing that the kid did in the whole ball game. Is took a sack. I think his first down, might have been second, in overtime, and they're already at a position. Ain't even really gotten the playoffs successfully, and they're in dangerous field goal range, which they might need it to win that ball game. Both teams played pretty sorry on offense. I mean, I just think Missouri played better on defense than they've been playing, but I thought they did. Auburn did a great job, on the rushing game, where Hardy, that back at Mizzou, he might be as good as he is in the league. And they held them under 100 yards rushing. And I don't know what Hardy got, but I mean, it's just when you get those things done. Hardy only got 58 yards. He averaged 2.4 a carry. When you get things like that done in that ball game, you got a shot to win. I mean, that would have been, if you put the keys to win, I think that's the first one you'd start with is you got to stop that running back, or at least control him. Hell, they damn near stopped him. Okay, then you got a couple of other things you'd probably highlight. But when you do that, and then the quarterback's giving you bad decisions and bad field position and putting you in tough situations, missing receivers, not like you say, not throwing the ball, running around all over the field trying to make a cowboy play. It just takes away from everything else you improved on and everything else you got done in the game. So, I mean, I don't know how much of that you can lay at the head coach's feet. But, I mean, obviously everything that happens in the program is at the head coach's feet. But I don't know how much this quarterback play is really the direct responsibility of him, because I'm sure offensively, Hugh Freeze is a lot smarter than I am. And that damn quarterback's probably been told about 6 times a week, don't take a sack in freaking overtime. You're in overtime, you're in the red zone. Mm-hmm. I mean, what the hell are you doing? You don't throw an interception, you don't take a sack in the freaking red zone. Throw it at one of those cheerleaders over there in section 10. I mean, just get
rid of the ball.
I mean, it ain't that hard. I couldn't do it physically, but hell, anybody that knows football knows mentally, football wise and football smarts, don't take a friggin' sack in friggin' overtime. I mean, it's just stupid.
Well, and I think the other thing that people are frustrated with is this is year 3 of Hugh Freeze, 3 different quarterbacks. You cleaned out the quarterback room last year. You got 3 new players in there, and it's the same thing. And he's calling the plays. He didn't call him first year, but he's called him the last 2, and it hadn't looked a whole hell of a lot better. And now you're going into this year. I'm sorry, you're going into this week, and the last 4 games. You opened up with Baylor, you scored 38 points. You played Ball State, who was terrible. You played South Alabama, who was terrible. You scored 42 and 31 in those 2 games. Since then, 17 at Oklahoma, 10 against Texas A&M, 10 against Georgia, 17 against Missouri. You can't win football games that way.
Yeah. Well, they got 2 winnable games coming up. And, I mean, it ain't going to be easy. Kentucky, on a given day now, that's one of the best defenses in the conference. What they did to Texas last game it's crazy. The stats that Texas had looked like some JV team, and they're coming off of scoring points on one of the best defenses in the conference in Oklahoma. But anyhow, you got Kentucky and Vanderbilt right now. They're good football teams, especially Vanderbilt. But if you can win those 2 and get into the open date, get some people healthy, whatever you do with your open date, beat Mercer, and then get ready to play Alabama, knowing you already got 6 wins, you got a bowl game. Let's go out there and just play hard and whatever. But you've summed it up on what they've done so far. And the only thing I see is if they can't get 2 wins in a row here on these next 2, it's just going to make it so hard on whoever has to make that decision. And I think it's going to be one of the worst things that happened to Auburn football in the last 20 years if they have to make that change.
Well, the other thing that's going on, is, you had 19, I think Saturday night was the 19th consecutive sellout at Jordan-Hare Stadium for a football team that's staring down a 5th consecutive losing season. Now, for a program that has, again, is staring at 5 straight losing seasons, that's a pretty committed fan base. And you've got an unbelievable home field advantage, and you just can't seem to get out of your own way. And now you've got to go, this week's game is at Arkansas. It's an 11:45.
That's a good matchup for them, though, Ronnie, because, Petrino's going to try to turn it into an offensive showcase. He's auditioning for a job somewhere, all he's doing. Okay. But DJ, the way they've been playing defense, I'll be shocked if Petrino can get to 30 on them. When you say, well, that ain't that good. You hold Arkansas in the 20s, you're going to beat them if you take care of the football, because they can't stop running water. They can't stop nobody. And so I just think this is a good matchup for them. It's tough having to go out to Arkansas. It might be the first true home game they've played since they made all the changes. But anyhow, that's not a bad matchup for Auburn. And then the second one, like I said, Kentucky and Vandy, they're not bad football teams, but you got better players than they do.
Yeah.
If you can get them playing right. And then you got Mercer. Mm-hmm. So I just think it's a very hard time right now for the fan base, but I think, and probably real hard on the administration trying to hold the focus on what's best for the program. But I think in 2 years they'll regret making that move. And if it's the other way, I think they'll be damn glad they didn't make the move.
Well, like we talked about before, I just think if you're Auburn in this environment, look, if you made a change last year, that's one thing. But year 2, you're not making a change. But because of the rule changes and the revenue sharing, all those things, a lot of people held off last year. A lot of people aren't holding off this year. You've got Florida open. You're probably going to have Florida State open. I'm pulling up my list here. Hold on. But you're probably going to have Florida State open. You've got I'm just looking through here at the other jobs. Like right now in Power 5 or Power 4, you've got Stanford, Virginia Tech, Oklahoma State, UCLA, Penn State, Arkansas, Florida. Now, looking at what's probably going to come open, you got Florida State that's probably going to come open. You've got Wisconsin that's probably going to open. You've got, it's not going to be, LSU loses a couple of more. It's going to be iffy down there. You got Maryland that's sitting here on the hot seat. You got North Carolina that's probably going to open. You got Michigan State that certainly could. You look down. You got Kentucky that's probably going to open. It's not a year you want to be looking for a coach. Now, Auburn's a better job.
I'll say this. You named a lot of schools. Of course, this is personal preference for me and getting into my decision. There are only 2 of them you called out that I think attract the same people that Auburn does.
Yeah. And
that'd be Penn State and Florida. The rest of them, there may be somebody out there that disagrees with me. They'd rather go this place. Hell, I wouldn't want to go to Penn State to coach. It's been a damn graveyard for everybody that's come in there ever since Paterno. And I, personally, Florida's history, it's a great job, and it's going to attract a bunch of good people. But there ain't many people left down there headed for a better job in a long time.
Well, that's true too.
Including Urban. Urban didn't leave.
No.
He did great. He didn't get fired, but it was time.
He burned his ground on the way out.
It was time to go. Dan Mullen's good a football coaches in the country. He didn't survive it. It's just it's a good job, but when you really get down to it, the last and the only guy that sustained championship ball and left there for what was a better job at the time was Steve. And it's just a lot of Florida people don't like to admit that, but that's the history.
Well, I think if you look at the coaches that have been through there, and we talked about this the other week, but if you look at the coaches who've been there since Spurrier, Urban obviously has the highest winning percentage, but beyond that, guess who's second?
Probably Napier, or either who was the one right before Will?
Ron Zook.
Zook is. I'm not surprised.
And after that, what you had I'm not sure what order you had, McElwain, or you had Muschamp
McElwain.
next.
That's who I was trying to think of.
And I think McElwain is either tied or right there with Ron. But then you had Mullen, you've had Napier, you've had Muschamp, you've had McElwain, you've had, I mean, and on and on. And so, and that's not even counting all the interims you had. So it's been a damn revolving door down there. And that being said, you know, Jason did a column on Auburn Undercover the other day, and, you know, he went through the history of Auburn over the past, you know, 3 decades or so. And Auburn's had some great years, you know, 93, 94, 97, you know, 2004, 2005, 2006, all those are good years. Undefeated 2004, win a national championship in 2010, fall off cliff again in 2012, fall off cliff in 98, you know, fall off cliff Tuberville's last year, and it's been like a damn roller coaster. And Gus had a great year. They all had in 2013. And he was, you know, back up 2017, back in the SEC championship game, had a chance to win and didn't. Played a freshman Bo Nix in 2019. Ends up getting fired, and he beats Alabama. But 2020, you know, wheels come off and he gets fired, and then you end up with Harsin. And it has been, you know, up and down, up and down, up and down. And while Auburn's had some great years, vast majority of those years over the past 35 years, you know, have been, you know, 4+ losses, and there's just been no consistency. Now, one thing Auburn has done that over the past, you know, 30 or so years outside Urban, that Auburn has done that Florida and A&M and some of these other places have not done is you jump up and have a great year. You know, you jump
Win
up,
a national title,
play for a national title, win a conference championship, and then the wheels come off, and it's the same thing over and over again. At some point, you know, I think Auburn people want some consistency. You know, James Franklin, like I said, he's going to get another job, and I would imagine he'd get some consideration around, you know, a bunch of these jobs are open. I mean, he couldn't win the big one at Penn State, and I think the whole situation had become untenable. But you know, he had won 34 games over the previous 3 years, so somebody's going to go hire him.
You know, he got a good resume.
Yeah, I mean, you know, and you look at all the jobs that are going to be open. I mean, he's, you know, he'll have a shot to get one. Probably will get one if he wants one. And I agree with you. The only jobs that Auburn is going to be competing with, if there's a move, Florida and Penn State. And my guess is that anybody go to Penn State's probably not on Auburn's list. So really, you're competing with Florida, and you probably got a very similar list. Now, the longer you wait to make a change, some of these other schools are going to be further down the road, and the more it's going to hurt recruiting, and it's going to be harder to keep your roster together. And I'm with you. Unless it bottoms out, I think Auburn's better off keeping him. You've got a chance to go on a run. You know, if you beat Arkansas, then the next week you've got Kentucky in a night game at home in Jordan-Hare Stadium. They're good on defense. They're terrible on offense. You go to number 10 Vandy the next week, which sounds like we're living in a twilight zone. And then you got Mercer and you got Alabama and Jordan-Hare. You got a chance really to win 8 games. I mean, you could go on, potentially you could go on a run here, have a great recruiting class, feel good about going to a bowl game. And, you know, if you get on a run here, the backside of the schedule is not nearly as challenging as the front side. You get rolling and you get some things going on offense. You got a chance to win 9 games with a bowl game. That's not a bad year. Now you go out there and lose to Arkansas and get beaten by Vandy and get beat by Alabama at home. It's going to be hard for them to make it.
Yeah, I think if you're not competitive against Alabama and or no bowl game, it'll be hard to hold a finger in a dike. I can understand that. That's just the way it is. Fans and alumni and so forth.
How do you see Arkansas this weekend?
Well, I think it's a great matchup for Auburn. Wish it was at home, but as well as they're playing on defense, they will give Arkansas's offense some problems. And 2 or 3 weeks ago, they had about 2 or 3 turnovers. And if DJ and them can get about 2 or 3 turnovers on them, they'll score. I mean, I know we've been beating ourselves to death here for the last 20 minutes about how they're shooting themselves in the foot on offense. But Arkansas is very bad player wise and very bad. They've had all those changes. I'm sure they've had enough time now to kind of get it all glued back together. But they were playing really, really bad defensive football this whole year, and I don't see them. Auburn may stop themselves, but I don't see them stopping Auburn. So I just think that's a good matchup for them to flip the page and get on the winning track. And then behind that, I think they got better players than Kentucky, and I think if they play well, they win that one. And Vanderbilt, I mean, we all keep waiting on Vanderbilt to, swallow the apple or something, and they just keep damn winning. They're a really good football team. They're solid on defense, and on offense, you almost have to call the sheriff to get them off the field. You can't. I mean, they pick up third downs, they pick up fourth downs, they throw the ball when they have to throw the ball, they throw it accurately, and their running game is really difficult to stop because everybody back there with a legal jersey number is a dangerous ball carrier. Not to take it 80, but they're really good running backs, ball carriers, and they're smart. They know what they're doing in that system, and they're just almost impossible to get off the field, and that's what's keeping their defense from getting exposed a little bit. They got some good players, but they don't have the kind of SEC talent over on that side of the ball that several other teams do. But they make some critical plays during the game, and their offense stays on the field, and that's the key to trying to beat them. But now they're getting ready to hit it now. They were able to get out of that LSU game, but Alabama beat them. Missouri's a better football team than they are, and I believe Missouri will beat Vandy. And then they got to go to Texas. And, I mean, Texas has got some freckles. They got some problems that they don't have any offensive tackles.
Yep.
They're really having a hard time protecting Arch. And then the Auburn game comes up, and I think by that time, Auburn's as good as they are, better. So I don't think Vandy's going to be able to sustain this thing. They're a really good team, but they're not going to be able to sustain this thing through the schedule. So, I mean, I think they're not in that bad a position right now. And when you look at a couple of the games they've lost, I know everybody gets sick of talking about officiating, but there's one play that they allowed to be a touchdown that is not even a legal play. You remember the one way back when you're talking about the hideout play? I mean, I don't understand in today's officiating when you've got a studio review on some of that stuff and they can't call that. I mean, it just blows my mind. And so there are at least two games that they've lost that they got the short end of the stick. Now, I know you got to play well enough that you don't put it in the referee's hands. Okay. You keep doing that, sooner or later, you're going to get screwed. But at the same time, I think they played good enough to win those games and got bad officiating. So there's a lot of factors where you say maybe the overall problem isn't our head coach. Maybe there's a few other little changes here or there. But if things keep happening with his recruiting and the discipline and so forth off the field that's been going on the last 2 years, the program's going to be in better shape next year and the year after than if you make a damn change right now.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree with you now. Again, that's sitting here right now.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. You start losing three big time recruits and that kind of stuff. I get it, but right now, I just think you better stay the course and lock it down and let's get us some more wins in this season and get out there and get some better recruits.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, look, and they've got good players. I think the other thing people are frustrated with is if you sit here and you look and officiating it, two things. Number one, you're 100% right on the officiating. And I think that certain people at Auburn, powerful boosters, and I can't speak for John Cohen, but I know that several people around the program that have some influence view him before the Missouri game. They view him as 5-1 because they feel like they got screwed out of 2 games. Yeah. And so, there's a recognition that, okay, look, we're not far away. But we need to see some progress. You go to Arkansas and you lose and you're sitting here at 3-5, and then you got Kentucky the next week at home. You got at Vandy. I mean, you got a chance to be sitting here. If you're at 6-6, it's going to be tough. I mean, let's jump around the conference a little bit. I mean, we got some pretty good games this week. Ole Miss at Oklahoma. Looks like the line is OU they're giving 4.5.
I think this one all boils down to Mateer taking care of the football. And so far, I mean, Ole Miss has played good defense this year. Oklahoma's played great. It's possible that Lane can blister their rear end with all the pressure they bring. But I just really believe, I think Oklahoma is a much better football team when Mateer takes care of the ball. That's a big, big deal. But if he doesn't turn that ball over and he makes a few good decisions on his throws and that type of thing, and I think Oklahoma's a better football team. It could be close. It could be real close, but I'm going to take Oklahoma, especially out there.
Another thing that's hard about that game is I'm not sure why. I mean, that's one of your premier games today. I mean, you got an 11 a.m. kick. I'm not a big fan of that. But that's me. You got Alabama at South Carolina.
I mean, how do they get the 3:30 kick? I mean, I don't understand it either.
I mean, you got the 8th and 13th team in the country, and that's really your highest rated matchup of the week. And that's your early game. I don't necessarily understand that, but you do have Alabama, South Carolina at like I said, 2:30 Central Time, 3:30 Alabama by 11.5.
Yeah, it could get worse. South Carolina's a dangerous team. I mean, anytime Sellers makes 2 or 3 of these crazy plays and runs with the football, but they're struggling so much right now. I don't think Alabama's good on defense as Oklahoma, but they're really getting better every week, and they're playing really good defense. And I just don't see Alabama may score 40. I just really think if they get them the ball back enough times, they may score 40 points. I'm afraid South Carolina may have lost the Stewart kid on the edge. I saw the block. He got hit right in the hip bone, with a shoulder on a tight end coming across, like a cut block, not a cut block, but a cut zone or what it's called, split zone. And I mean, hell, he came from about 6 yards and the kid didn't see it. And it just hit him right in that hip. And I'll be shocked if he does get back, he won't be real full speed. And that's what makes him good is the speed. So I think they might beat South Carolina bad.
Alabama may be playing as good as anybody in the country right now.
Yeah, overall, they do. Now, I've seen better offenses, but not a lot. And I've seen better defenses, but not a lot. But I don't know if I've seen any team in the league that's more balanced. Yeah. Texas has times on offense. They just really lost those big NFL offensive tackles, and these kids are not playing as well, as those guys did. And a lot of Archie's problems. I mean, but I think they're the most complete team in the conference.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you. Tennessee at Kentucky, it's a 6:45 kick. That's your late game this week. The line is Tennessee by 9.5. I would have thought it'd been more than that.
I guess it's going to be Kentucky has a hard time finding points, but the way they played against Texas, if they play as well against Tennessee as they did against Texas, they may beat these guys. Tennessee, you got to remember now that's point spread last week with the Tennessee. Alabama 17 points, but they had a 100-yard interception that could be a 14-point flip. So that game was a lot closer than it ended up, simply because of that 100-yard pick six right there at a critical time, and then it became unmanageable. So I don't know. Tennessee's not nearly as consistent as they have been. Defense is not even close to what they were last year, and Aguilar has done a great job. But he always has one of those moments like that pick six. That ball should have never been thrown out there. Right. And so he's sometimes reaches that point where he's limited. And Stoops is good as anybody, coming up with some kind of a plan to take something away.
He's done a great job there for a long time. This is from everything I've heard and everything I understand. He's probably not going to make it. I don't know how good a job that is. He's done about as good a job as you can do there, especially in the league. I don't see him making it. But,
Yep.
Now you've got number 22 Texas at Mississippi State, and you got Texas by 6.5. But you got to say now, I mean, the cowbells will be ringing over there now. I mean, and they're not bad.
Yeah, that's a dangerous game for Texas. Now, listen to this. I'm going to take to pull this out and read to you. Texas against Kentucky. 8 first downs. 8 first downs. 5 of 16 on third down. 179 total yards. I thought I had to go to a funeral Saturday. I missed a lot of football games. And I did a lot of studying and looking at recaps and stats, so I kind of know what was going on. They had 47 yards rushing. I mean, these were like halftime stats or something. This is a game that went into overtime. This sounds like somebody's halftime or first quarter stats. Mm-hmm. 7 penalties for 50 yards. They did not turn the ball over. And Kentucky turned it over one time at a very critical point in the game. But they had 19 minutes difference in possession. I mean, this is unbelievable. This is impossible. That's the most strange game. I mean, it's just weird the way it was. And I think it was a late game because when I got home from that funeral, I was able to watch a lot of it. But I came in on the tail end of it. If they can't play any better than that, I mean, they're going to be vulnerable no matter who they play. And Mississippi State can score points. Kentucky doesn't know how to score. They just can't get the thing in gear. But they had 395 yards to 179 and lost the ball game. That's crazy.
And I kept watching the score. I was at Auburn-Mizzou, so I didn't get to watch it. I kept watching the score, but I was kind of surprised that it's going to be interesting to see how Texas ends up here. I mean, I'm pulling up their schedule here. You've got, I mean, they're sitting here at 5-2 right now. And you've got,
they got an easy schedule compared to the rest of the conference.
That they do, but you go into Mississippi State this week. There's no question. You go into Mississippi State this week, but it doesn't look hardly as easy as it looked at the beginning of the year. I mean, you've got Vandy at home after this week. Then you got at Georgia, Arkansas at home, and A&M at home. So it's not a cakewalk now. I mean, if you can't score against Mississippi State, and you got an 11 a.m. kick at Vandy, then you go to Georgia, and then you got Arkansas and A&M. I mean, you could end the year.
They're not going to beat Georgia and A&M. No. I do not believe they're going to beat both of those teams. They're not playing well enough.
No.
And this isn't just last week. I mean, last week was a damn horror show. It's impossible. I mean, that's crazy. But they've had other games that were not good. And when Arch plays bad, it's because he doesn't have a lot of time. And he doesn't have a good feel right now, in my opinion, on when to step up in the pocket, when to throw the ball away, when to try to extend the play, all those things that a good quarterback can do. He just doesn't seem to have that. He's just inexperienced. And that high school he played at, I mean, everybody keeps talking about the competition level was very, very average. So he's just a young quarterback with a lot of physical talent. And I think he's going to get better. But, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me now for them to lose this one. But even if they beat Mississippi State and Vandy, they still got Georgia and Texas A&M. And those two teams are playing a heck of a lot better than Texas is right now.
Yeah, and I mean, and Texas had up problems all year. I mean, scored 14 against Ohio State. They scored 38 against San Jose, scored 27 against UTEP, and 55 against Sam Houston. I'm not sure that matters, any of those. Yeah. And then you lost to Florida and scored 21, beat Oklahoma, scored 23, beat Kentucky, scored 16. I mean, you're not going. I do believe that unless they can generate more points in Starkville, and by the time that game's over, now it's going to be dark, and the cowbells are going to be ringing, and I picked Mississippi State to win the game. I'm not 100%. Obviously I'm not certain on that, but it wouldn't shock me at all if Mississippi State wins the game.
No, it wouldn't shock me either. They're not a real good defense. They're solid, but they're not playing any kind of defense that you'd say they're going to stop Texas. But I think they can hold the points down a little bit, and Levy can score points. I mean, he'll find a way. And Texas is good on defense, especially speed and coverage and rushing the passer. They're a dangerous defense in that respect. So I think it's a tough matchup for Mississippi State, and I think Texas will end up winning it. But you're right. It's a trap game for them, and it could get beat.
And then let's see, next game this week would be 15 Missouri at number 10 Vandy. I still have a hard time saying number 10 Vandy.
Vandy's that could be one of the best games in the conference.
2:30 kick, 3:30 Eastern time, and Vandy's a 2.5 point favorite. But that's a pick'em game for me. I'm not.
Yep. I'm gonna pick Missouri. I think that they last week they had a little bit of trouble. DJ and them got the first time I've seen Prabula start making a little bit of bad decisions or get frustrated. I think he threw 2 picks, but Vandy ain't that good on defense. They're not nearly as good as Auburn, and I think Missouri will outscore Vanderbilt if Vanderbilt can't just keep the friggin' ball for 45 minutes or something. I think they'll outscore Vanderbilt.
I think it'll be a great game.
Yep.
And the other big game, it's a 6:30 kick in Baton Rouge. Hell, LSU can't score either. You got number 3. In fact, Auburn looks to me a lot like LSU, just kind of can't get out of their own way. But Tiger Stadium at night, A&M's a 2.5 point favorite.
A&M concerned me a little bit when the defensively they gave up 42 points to Arkansas. And I know Trino's a great coach and all that, but they haven't been just shut down defense this year, but they've been pretty daggone good. And I mean, that worries you when a defense gives up that kind of yardage and that kind of points. 527 yards, 268 rushing, and then 42 points. But one thing coming out of that game, and I had said for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, Texas A&M might be as good as anybody, but the Reed kid, I didn't think was playing championship football. I thought they were carrying him, the quarterback. He wasn't making them better. He played good against Arkansas. Of course, I just got through saying a while ago, Arkansas can't stop running water. But, Reed had 325 yards, total yardage, 4 TDs, and first time in 4 games he didn't throw a pick. So if that quarterback can play that good the rest of the year, he's going to see a lot better defenses than Arkansas. But that's the only thing worrying about A&M is his limitation. And if that's gone, I wouldn't be surprised it's going to be Texas A&M against Georgia or Alabama in the championship game.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. And if you're LSU now, and you got a night game against A&M coming up this week, and you look at the rest of the schedule now, I mean, you've got A&M this week, the night kick. Then you're at number 4 Alabama, Arkansas at home, Western Kentucky at home, and then at Oklahoma to wrap up the year. I mean, you don't be you could be sitting here looking at 3 more losses and 7-5 at LSU and paying him all that money. It's going to be hot down there too now, and that would be a very attractive job, but that's not what they paid for, and the natives are restless down there.
I could see it. I mean, the contract is overwhelming, but he's one of those guys that can sometimes rub you wrong. And if anybody could have some problems with sort of like Franklin up at Penn State, he didn't have a lot of friends. So when things get testy and iffy, you don't have a lot of folks in there going to bat for you. saying, hey, we need to push through with this guy. He's the guy. So,
and at some point, LSU's athletic director, Scott Woodward, now, he's the one that started all these, and USC did the same thing the same year. But, before that, Woodward went out and paid Jimbo all this money, $70 million buyout. It didn't work. He leaves A&M, goes to LSU, does the same thing with Brian Kelly. Same year, USC does the same thing with Lincoln Riley. And there are no 100% bets.
Same AD.
Same AD.
All three of those places?
No. Same. Woodward did A&M and LSU, and then USC hired Lincoln Riley the same year and USC is another one. I mean, they're having a pretty good year, but I'm not sure who they have left. But he was on the hot seat coming into the year. So I think LSU could still open. I mean, I think that's one that you got to keep an eye on. But I mean, at some point, you've got ADs that keep giving these big ass buyouts, and
what happens? They get in competition for these guys. You either get egg on your face or you get your guy. And to get your guy, there's this one last step we got to take. Do we do it? Well, this is the guy we want. Let's give him the contract. Then you look up 6 years later, and you extended it once, and you gave him a raise, and now you look like the little rascals, and you owe the guy $70 million, and you can't fire him.
That's it. And I'm pulling up Brian Kelly's record here, but it's getting hot down there. Let's see, looking at his record here as a head coach. Since he's been at LSU, he's gone 10-4. Has not won conference. Played in the conference championship game in 2022, but went 10-4. 2023, 10-3. Next year 9-4, and this year he's 5-2. Now look, Auburn and Florida will be jumping up and down to be winning 10-9 games right now.
LSU with his 10, when you win 10, I mean to me that's a huge milestone. I don't care if you lose 4 or lose 3, but you win 10 games, then you're doing something right in that conference. 9 games, there's a lot of folks can win 9 games.
Unless you're at Florida or LSU. I mean, I'm sorry, unless you're at Florida or Auburn.
Right now, I mean, I know they're stuck in third gear, but those are not championship teams that win 9 games.
I'm looking up here his buyout here. I mean, it is it's significant. I don't have the numbers right in front of me, but it's.
So you're pulling up stuff on the computer, and so you look like you're looking at somebody there, and you think I'm not listening to you, and I'm hunting all kind of stats and notes because I'm doing paper and pencil.
LSU would owe Brian Kelly as of December 1st, 2025, would owe him $53.3 million. Now, that's a lot of money.
And on top of NIL and on top of, all the other stuff that you're having to, I mean, you're going to pay somebody $50 million not to work at your school?
Who's winning 9 games a year plus? I mean, he's been there 4 years and won 10, 10, 9. Now, look, they made, you go 7-5 this year. If I'm LSU, I'm still not making it. I'm still not making that move.
No. And I don't think they will.
I just,
unless something happens internally. I mean, you have something go NCAA rules or something go with something players, off the field, or he gives some kind of sign that he's lost the locker room or something of that nature. I think it's a dumb decision to make a change.
Yeah, I would have to, unless it just bottoms out and you don't have a choice. But I would agree with you. You look down, who fits in some of these jobs? I mean, if you're at Florida, who do you go hire?
I don't know. I mean, you've been on top of that a lot more. I don't really know some of these younger guys coming along now. I don't follow it that much. You got guys like Jimbo and Gruden and some of them that are trying to stir the pot, saying they want to come back and coach. And then you've got, here's the other thing. I mean, if you want to fix your program, You're looking at another guy who's taking his team to the playoffs, maybe. You think he's coming before he's out of the playoffs?
Nope.
I mean, and I don't care how popular he is or if he ends up playing in the championship game, it ain't helping you recruiting.
No.
You're losing recruits all that time, and you're losing opportunities to get in front of the line on portal kids. The portal window is now during the playoffs, isn't it? After the first game.
I believe it's in.
So
yeah,
if you think you're going to hire one of the best coaches in the country, and if you're Florida or LSU or Auburn or one of these schools, you look at yourself as a top 10 program. So you think you're going to find one of the best 5 or 10 coaches in America. Well, some of them are in contracts. They're not leaving where they are. Some of them might, but then you got to go back into what you just mentioned a while ago. You got to get into one of these damn buyout contracts, 6-year contract or something, guaranteed for X number of years. And then here you are. Look at what's happened at Chapel Hill.
Mm-hmm.
And they've never been a big, aggressive football school in personnel hiring or any other way. Facilities. I mean, they got nice stuff, but I mean, hopefully forever and ever, they couldn't put a deck on one side of their stadium because of the damn pine trees. It was in the friggin' will or something. The guy that gave me the money, I don't know. But it's that Chapel Hill mentality. And so they just finally said, hey, Mac Brown's not even good enough for us anymore. He was when he came here and won 10 games in a row 2 years, but now he's just not that good anymore. We're going to go out and hire the greatest football coach has coached in 100 years, and we're going to give him the money to get him. And I was told by somebody that, he was shopping himself all over the place. And North Carolina bit the hook. Mm-hmm. And look at what situation they're in. But I wouldn't make a change right now.
Yeah,
I'd stick with Belichick.
And look, I mean, there's a reason he didn't get an NFL job. And, it's reported that Bill Kraft was going around telling everybody, don't hire him. And look, I think Belichick deserves a lot of credit, managing that roster for all those years. But look at his record without Tom Brady, and it's not real good. And look, give Tom Brady credit. I think Belichick certainly deserves credit for managing the roster, managing the team. I'm not saying that at all, but the last 4 or 5 years have not been great.
No, and when he had his hands on the defense and controlled it more than he did in his later years, they were good on defense too. So I think he's a great football coach. I do think it was 50-50 Brady and him when they got to championship years, but his whole track record as a defensive coach, as a coordinator and a head coach, the defense he's always been in charge of, seldom have they not been effective and made big plays at big times. They're not right now. And I don't know if he maybe didn't do a good job. Just to have the money to get into portal is one thing, but you got to make good decisions and you got to pick the right guys, evaluating in the portal is just as important as it is evaluating high school kids, So maybe they didn't do a great job on that. And that's hard to say because he's been looking at college players for 20 years as a pro coach.
I think I read when they brought in 70 kids.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's what you've ended up with at Florida State. You go undefeated, 3 years ago now, and you win 2 last year, and it is not good right now. So
no, I mean, they beat one of the best football teams in America on the first game, and I mean beat them.
Yeah, and hadn't pissed them off since.
Now they don't look like they know who they are. Mm-hmm. They just lost to Stanford. They just lost to a tree. They lost to a tree. And this football team's got a tree painted on the field and a tree on the side of the helmet. You can't lose those people.
Not if you're at Florida State.
Can you imagine the crap those Stanford students, as whacked as they are, and there's no telling what other things were involved in their behavior. But can you imagine listening to that for an hour when you're getting your butt kicked at the end of the game?
I can't imagine.
I mean, how do you do that, Ronnie? How do you beat Alabama and 7 weeks later, you don't even know who you are? And I think a lot of it goes back to what you said. 70 brand new kids or 60 or however many they brought in this year. That's hard, man. Their season this year is a little microcosm of that 2 years ago to last year.
Yep.
12-win season, only lost one game, didn't even get in the playoffs. Then the second year, can't win a game.
Mm-hmm.
And now this season has been just exactly the same. Great early. Now they don't know who they are.
And you look at their schedule. I mean, it's not overwhelming who's left, but I mean, they've lost 4 in a row to Virginia in double overtime, Miami, Pitt, and Stanford, and that's after beating Alabama, East Texas A&M, and Kent State. And you wrap up here with Florida State at Clemson, Virginia Tech at NC State at Florida. I mean, none of those aren't winnable, but they're not gimmies either. The way they're playing.
They beat Texas A&M?
No. They beat East Texas A&M.
Oh, okay.
Beat East Texas A&M 77-3.
Well, their Alabama win. Ever since then, they don't have a real high quality win. Virginia's a better team this year. I mean, they're sitting there at ACC. They're one of the 4 teams who've got a shot to go to championship game.
Yeah, I mean, they're sitting here at what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, they're 6-1.
Yeah.
Virginia. I mean, they've done that. Tony's done a great job up there.
Absolutely. I mean, they weathered all that tragedy with losing that player, and all those other things. Plus, when he went in, it wasn't in good shape.
No,
he's done a good job. One thing that impressed me about it, even when they weren't winning, but like 4 games a year, if you watched them play in a game, they were well coached. They played hard. They didn't make a lot of mistakes. They just didn't, they got outran, or they got got pushed around a little bit sometime. But I mean, fundamentally, they were good. They were executing well. And I think it was just a matter of time until they got some kids in there that could play on that level.
And you look at the rest of the schedule. I mean, you got at North Carolina, at Cal, Wake Forest, at Duke, Virginia Tech. I mean, hell, they got a chance to win 10 games. Yep. I mean, he's done a great job. And, he turned down a bunch of jobs from Clemson when he was there, and strangely enough, took Virginia. And he's a very he's a different cat. Clearly a good football coach. And I'm not sure, his name will get brought up for other jobs. But he's had plenty of chances to take other jobs. So I'm not.
There's no question. There'll be some phone calls to him this year. I mean, what he's done up there.
And look, he had plenty of phone calls before when he was at Clemson, and just chose not to. But a lot of moving pieces, Ellis. It's gonna be a wild coaching carousel as usual.
Well, I'll take Texas A&M, Georgia, and Alabama and give you the field, and we'll bet $1,000 on who's going to get in the championship game.
I believe you'd probably win that bet.
Well, I'd better, because I ain't got $1,000.
Oh
yeah, this is it's really getting this. I think I'm stealing this from some talk show I was listening to in the car the other day, but it's that 3 or 4 week period now in the SEC where they're just going to start. It's going to be a circular firing squad, and who comes out of it with only 1 loss or none, I don't know if anybody can. The 1 loss is possible, but it's going to be hard for anybody to be undefeated in the conference right now. The only 2, Alabama and A&M, right?
I believe so.
And I'll be, Georgia's got so much mental toughness, and I like the way the quarterback's playing now. I just think those 3 teams are going to be hard to keep out of that game.
Yeah, the standings right now, you've got A&M and Alabama in the conference at 4-0. You got Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Vandy, all sitting there with 1 loss. But Alabama's got 4. Alabama, A&M, and Georgia all have 4 wins. Ole Miss sitting here at 3-1, but Texas, Missouri, Oklahoma all sitting there at 2-1. So they're about to get into the meat of the conference.
That's right.
Everybody else has at least. I mean, you got LSU, Tennessee, Florida at 2-2, and then you got South Carolina at 1-4, and then Mississippi State, Arkansas, Auburn, and Kentucky are all sitting here at 0-3 or 0-4. So you've really got 1, 2, 3. Realistic. I'd have to agree with you. I mean, Ole Miss I mean, I don't see Texas having a shot to make it the way they played. I think A&M, Alabama, Georgia, the cream of the crop. Maybe Ole Miss. We'll see.
Yep.
I mean, he's done an unbelievable job. He's sitting here at 6-1 again.
Yeah, but it will be, and done it with a kid that came in, and he's a good little player, but he did it with a kid came in from a Division II national championship team, and didn't do it in the spring and the summer and the preseason. He had to make the change during the season, and he's got that kid playing at a really high level. I think this week though will be a big test when it's going to be hard on that kid when Oklahoma starts tuning up on him. He ain't seen anything like that in Division II.
You're looking here. You got 10 teams in the conference that are ranked right now, and looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 5 in the top 10.
Yeah, but you sit there. You got LSU and Tennessee ranked 10 and 11 nationally, and they've already lost 2 games in the conference. I mean, it's just got, like I said, it's going to be a circular firing squad over this next 3 or 4 weeks, and I think one of those 3 will survive it, but it could be about 6 of them that are still in the middle of it.
Yeah, you look down here. I mean, and I'm just looking at the Big Ten here as a comparison. Now you got 3 in the top 6, but then you got Michigan at 25 and Illinois at 23, and that's it. You got 10 ranked SEC teams and what I say 5 in the top 10. I mean,
Big 12 may have more legit teams in its conference this year than the Big 10. I mean, they've got some teams at BYU. BYU is a good football team. One of the 5 undefeated football teams left in the Power 4. In the top Power 4 level in the nation. But you got BYU and Cincinnati and Arizona State, Texas Tech, Houston. I mean, and Iowa State's dropped off a little this year, but I mean, they're
5-2
and 5-2. But those teams can play the bottom 2/3 of the Big Ten and kick their butt. I believe that.
There's no question.
I wouldn't want to mess with Ohio State, Indiana, or Michigan's better than their record, but
Oregon.
Big Ten, I mean, when you look at it, one of their biggest matchups this week is Illinois and Washington. 5-2, 5-2. Neither one of them are ranked.
Right.
UCLA could surprise Indiana the way they've come along. But I mean, Oregon's getting ready to play a team that's won 2 games. Nebraska's getting ready to play Northwestern, who has been a little surprised this year. But I mean, you just look at that conference. I mean, they got Big Ten players, but they're just not. The Big 12's playing better football right now, other than 2 teams in the Big Ten.
Yeah, I mean, and Oregon's ranked in the top. They're ranked number 6.
That's who I'm talking about. I think Ohio State and Oregon. I don't. Southern Cal, they're too soft. Every time they get in a really big game, like last week against Notre Dame, they can't finish.
And you look at the rest of their schedule. I mean, they got at Nebraska, who I think, and it's a night game. I think they'll lose. You got Northwestern, which is not easy. You got Iowa at home, at Oregon, and UCLA. I mean, none of those are gimmies if you're USC.
Yeah,
of course you can win all of them too. But I think that's
keep an eye. I'll tell you what, keep an eye on BYU this year.
No doubt.
They've had a couple of pretty good wins too against really good football teams. They haven't just played a bad schedule. They're going to have a shot, getting that 12 team. They got a real good shot to be the Big 12.
Absolutely. I mean, you got 4 teams ranked in the top 25, plus Houston sitting here at 6-1, and Iowa State at 5-2, and Baylor's not bad. They're at 4-3. The back half of the conference is not great, But I mean, even Utah, they're 2-2 in the conference, but overall
they're a really good football team. Big 12 in the ACC this year, no comparison. Big 12 is a lot better.
In the ACC now, I mean, you got 2 teams that are ranked. Georgia Tech's really good. They're 7-0, and he deserves a lot of credit.
They've won 6 one-score games. They're winning with this, and they hadn't really beaten anybody except some minor opponents, but they just know how to win.
And that's a great credit to Brent Key and that coaching staff.
Yeah.
You look at the ACC. You mentioned the ACC. I mean, Georgia Tech 7-0. Virginia is ranked number 16, and they're 6-1. And then you drop down to SMU and Pitt, and they're 5-2. And then Duke's 4-3. Louisville, I missed Louisville and Miami are also ranked. So the ACC,
Louisville's a dangerous football team,
and they're 5-1. And then Miami's ranked number 9. They're 5-1.
Louisville's way up high in scoring defense and stop rate.
Mm-hmm.
They've been playing some really good defense. And I think Brom's a really good football coach. Louisville's going to probably upset some people down the line. Clemson better be ready. Got to play them on a Friday night. And if they don't get some people healthy, they're not going to beat Louisville.
Yep. I would have to agree with you. Well, I believe our time's up. And we thank you for yours. We appreciate everybody listening, and click like and subscribe below. It really helps us out. Ellis, good to be with you this week.
Enjoyed it, man.